Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. We've got a dev response special. We're going to be talking about a bit of drama with the Reclaimer and the changing of ships after their concept phase and even after they've been produced, because lots of people say they get nerfed and that sort of stuff, but I want to focus on the Reclaimer and some changes that were spotted with that. We're also going to be talking about a video from £10.42's channel where I saw CIG's Ali Brown respond to a load of questions on Vulkan. So that's actually quite exciting for me because that's some cool performance and pretty updates for Star Citizen. There was a little bit of drama around the Reclaimer. So the Reclaimer is a big industrial salvage ship. It's equipped with a reinforced cargo bay, a long-range jump drive, and launch pods for unmanned drones whenever we get drones. The Reclaimer is an ideal ship for taking advantage of deep space wrecks. Tractor beams, floodlights, scanner options, and docking ports round out the tools on this capable utilitarian spacecraft. Now, it's had other stuff in the past as well. It's had a big grabby claw that was supposed to actually grab stuff and pull it in and hold it there, maybe pull it into its big maw at the front. But now salvage is more salvage fields and tractor beams. The Reclaimer is quite interesting as well because it's a big old ship that they added into the game when it hadn't finished the mechanics behind it, and they're still updating those mechanics, they're still pushing those features, and some players have been upset by the changes of the ship, like it not having a big grabby claw anymore that drags salvage into its mouth. I think some players have been concerned that with the Reclaimer and other ships that CIG are basically playing Kaplunk with their features, taking some out, nerfing others, changing ships after concept. That said, that is going to happen because of the nature of Star Citizen and it being an evolving project and lots of stuff changes. But there was a thread, CIG changed the Reclaimer description on the sales page, no more onboard processing. So this thread was from the ever eagle-eyed Cameral. I don't always agree with Cameral's conclusions on stuff, or not always his thought process on stuff, but sometimes I do. He is quite good at shining lights on things and drawing attention to certain things sometimes that I go, actually, yeah, that does need to be clarified, or what's going on there. So in this thread, he basically said, previously, the Reclaimer was supposed to have onboard processing and refining, and now any mention of that onboard refiner and processor is gone. So CIG must have changed that very recently because he checked 4 weeks ago and it was still there. So Disco Lando actually responded to this. So we've begun a slow audit process of the entire store to identify key elements that haven't been highlighted that should be. Better to find some terms that have been nebulous for a while and correct outright errors when needed. As part of this process, we added a new formalized definition of what the term heavy salvage means for a ship into a box that is built to display only 3 elements. So basically what they're saying is that the reason that the refinery stuff and process stuff was knocked off the things that the Reclaimer could do was because of that. These 3 elements are never reflective of the entire story of any given ship, but in this instance there was a better choice to be made on which of the 3 couldn't be displayed. So we've removed the more fluffy line and restored the refinery mention with unchanged salient details, still reflective of the ship. So they've basically removed a line saying, strip deep space wrecks of valuable resources with this capable multi-crew industrial salvage ship. Doesn't really need to be said because that's otherwise implied. Disco went on to say, that said, I want to remind everyone that this bullet point box has never, nor will ever, reflect every aspect of the ship or vehicle. It's simply a place for some highlights, and we've now restored the better highlight listing. So the bullet points of that ship sales page now read for the Reclaimer: tractor beams, floodlights, advanced scanners, and a manned cutter make this the ultimate large-scale salvage rig. So that's interesting because I thought that originally they were going to do a little ship for the Reclaimer as like a little ship to assist it, and it was going to be called the Cutter. And then they released the Cutter, which is a little Drake starter ship, but the Cutter there might actually be referring to a drone or other little ship or something, because it says manned cutter. In my notes, the Cutter is a remote drone, so I'd like some more clarification from CIG on that. Also, in these other bullet points, it has a significant cargo hold alongside an onboard processor capable of refining and storing up to a constellation's worth of scrap. So yes, Still got the onboard refinery, that's great to hear. Heavy salvage vehicles specialise in larger derelict reclamation via hull stripping and structural salvage, recovering RMC and salvage, a low-density construction material with the highest yield but longer refinement time. So that's really good. We're still getting some form of onboard refinery. We do know that CIG are going to be releasing the Misk Expanse at some point, which is a dedicated refinery ship. Salvage refining versus mining refining may be quite different though, and I think that CIG need to talk a bit more about that. But they're sort of evolving some of this because of crafting and a load of other bits and their economy in general, I suppose. But I just want to sort of say that there are a load of ships in Star Citizen that will change and evolve somewhat beyond their concept or because gameplay changes. The game's been in development for ages and they're going to be a load of changes big and small. And I think it's fine for CIG to be kept on their toes by us as players and concerned citizens, because some changes are going to cause backlash or might not be appropriate for a ship. They might go, oh, we're going to change this because the gameplay's changed. We'll go, well, you've changed that ship so much now, it's not why people bought it or backed it in the first place. And some people, yeah, they're just happy to pledge and change their pledge to a different ship that they like, and that sort of feeling changes as the project goes on. But other people, they've bought a ship because they went, well, I want to do that. And if I can't do that now, well, I'm going to be grumpy. At the very least, be grumpy. However, as long as a ship retains its intention or role, or both really, I'm going to be mostly okay. I was pretty annoyed at the change, like to the Ares Ion, for example. They sort of nerfed it hugely and changed it, and they did improve it somewhat more recently, but there's a load more changes that are going to be coming to the game in the future anyway, and we'll see where everything fits after engineering and them getting closer to Squadron 42's release, stuff like that. Will I actually be able to harvest gas and refine quantanium with the Starfarer at some point? So like another question that I have. I hope so. That's why I have one. Let's move on to Vulkan. Ali Brown, Senior Technical Director of Graphics and Procedural Tech at CIG, answered a series of questions on Vulkan in a video from £10.42's channel, although technically it's a clip of his stream, I suppose. Let me give you a summary of what was said. So this is all about Vulkan, and this is basically the graphics API stuff for Star Citizen. They're going to be getting rid of DirectX 11 and favouring Vulkan, and that gives them a huge amount of opportunities for optimization. I also think it's kind of a prerequisite for the Genesis Planet tech and the way they want to do global illumination and maybe ray tracing and a load of other cool things. Vulkan status. In the latest tech preview, they had Vulkan turned on and updated with multi-threading and all the main features, but there are further optimizations from Squadron 42 that are going to be brought into Star Citizen in future patches with Vulkan updates and stuff like that. So there's still more to improve and bring over. Upscaling and frame generation. DLSS 4 upscaling was also part of that latest preview, but frame generation has not yet been enabled and integrated. It is likely in a future patch though. I am personally hoping they support FSR 4 and or Redstone, which I think is an improved version of FSR 4 with AI optimizations and bits and bobs like that. So there's an interesting thing about global illumination in that latest tech preview that they did. So users were turning on global illumination, and technically it was kind of enabled, but people were also saying that ray trace global illumination wasn't enabled. Ali responded and said, global illumination in the tech preview was missing half the CVARs to work properly, as it wasn't meant to be exposed. So users that were turning it on were likely using a broken version of the software mode. I did see in a Reddit thread regarding this with Ben Parry, principal graphics designer at CIG, saying, I put a guard on the master switch to stop this, then later deleted the master switch. So I think that global illumination wasn't supposed to appear there to be turned on and off, but had, and obviously wasn't working properly. So obviously CIG are working on it, and I think that maybe it works internally. In regards to AMD versus NVIDIA optimizations, CIG apparently optimizes for both AMD and NVIDIA in a variety of ways with different GPUs and specs. He talked about the new graphics settings and common graphics settings that were added during that tech preview in regards to like texture quality and what lowering the setting means. So lowering texture quality settings reduces texture resolution to save memory, while a higher setting will improve detail and streaming quality. So at low, you're getting 50% texture resolution, medium 75%, high is 100%, and then very high and beyond that ultra adjusts how much is streamed in advance and adds extra detail. There is also a bar showing how much video memory is being used, and you can use auto detect to sort of optimize your memory usage versus settings. Why does Levski perform so poorly? So Levski is denser than other locations and presents ongoing technical challenges that the team is still investigating. So I think it's a lot to do with stuff being streamed in and out. There's a huge asteroid field there. It's a new area in general. There was also a mention of minimum specs for Star Citizen, because these are displayed on a variety of different web pages about Star Citizen. Ali acknowledged that the official minimum specs are vastly outdated and need updating. Performance can be pretty poor and almost unplayable in certain areas if you're using a minimum spec machine. They are updating graphics and performance all the time and will be updating those minimum specs, but they're integrating Vulkan. There's a load of big changes. They are finalizing some bits of Squadron 42 optimizations and its release, so I'd expect that to get an update quite soon. Boom! That's your update on some dev responses today. I am super interested to know, do you have a reclaimer? Were you concerned that they were changing the reclaimer further, not in your favor? Have you been affected by CIG changing or nerfing or updating a ship, either in a positive or negative way? I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. I did see some people complaining about the Perseus, and from what I've seen of the Perseus, I'm only happy. There's only been improvements to things that I wanted with the ship. Maybe, might be a little OP, but we'll have to wait and see until it's actually in our hands, right? And there's going to be changes with the weapons and stats and all that sort of stuff. Are you excited for better Vulkan integration in Star Citizen as well, and when they depreciate DirectX 11 entirely? Because I am. I think that's going to be great. I want to see them just focus on optimizations for Vulkan and make the game prettier and more scalable. I also hope they don't rely too much, if at all, on the lazy optimization techniques of just frame generation that a lot of games seem to be doing when they release. They don't optimize their game, and they just released a game and then go, oh no, the frame generation will sort it out. I'm looking at you, Silent Hill 2, and a load of others. You know who you are. Thanks very much for watching. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Get yourself a Toby Eye tracker. They're 20% off at the moment. Use the links below to get one, and you get that discount, and I get a little kickback. And also, what's that? You want to use your NordVPN and you don't have it? Well, go buy it. Go buy it from the links below as well to get better accessibility, security, and privacy on the internet. Oh, what's that? BoredGamer uses NordVPN. Maybe I would like to as well. I said that like a robot, but I get NordVPN. Every month we have a Star Citizen ship giveaway. For November, we are giving away the latest in pristine technology, the Grey's Market Shiv, a heavy fighter with a bucket of weaponry, and the first compound ship in game. It is made up of a cutlass and a load of other ships stuck together. It comes with lifetime insurance and a game package, all you need to play Star Citizen. But we're also bundling in a CitizenCon digital goodies pack, just loads of FPS items and stuff that you can put around your hangar and your base eventually. Just comment on any of our videos during the month to be in for a chance of winning that. Also, a big thank you to CIG for providing that prize. If you would like to further support the channel by clicking the join button under our videos and becoming a channel member or becoming a Patreon, then please do. It helps out a ton and enables us to make daily Star Citizen content, even when the YouTube algorithm or revenues are unkind. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and click any of the affiliate links under our videos. That helps too. It gives us a little kickback. Share with us your feedback and what you'd like to see. We'll see you in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching to the end of the video.